What's up, guys? Hi, welcome to day 3 of the road to 140 kilogram bench press. As you guys know, in order to bench that much, you need to bulk and you need to get heavy. Most people who don't have a heavy body weight to start with or really good leverages, they need to get really big to lift that much, and I'm certainly going to have to do that. And in the meantime, as I'm gaining all this weight, I'm going to be super anabolic, which means I want to use all of that excess food, all of that surplus, as much of it as possible. I want it to go into skeletal muscle. I don't want it to go into fat. Obviously, I'm going to gain a ton of fat. I'm probably going to a bit more than double my fat mass during this bulk. A few days ago, or at least a week ago, look at my Instagram, I was 77, 78 kilos. If you look at my most recent reel, my most recent photo, this cut, I got down to around 10% body fat at 77 kilos. The plan of this bulk is to bulk to 95 kilos, which means a 18 kilo gain from the bottom of my cut. Now, that is in pounds, probably very close to 40 pounds. It's more than 35 pounds, I would venture to guess. So that's a really big and really serious bulk. And as I bulk all of those kilos, I know that my bench strength is going to be barely affected at all by me training a lot of back, a lot of arms, and a lot of legs, and a lot of neck, and a lot of abs, because my abs are lagging as well. My abs are very thin. They are not 3D, they are not thick, and they are not strong. I know that for a fact, because I'm not that strong in ab exercises. So I really believe that there are a lot of muscles in my body that, I never really worked, and therefore they are novice level. And in this bulk, I'm going to take all of them up to an intermediate level. And a lot of my kind of intermediate level muscles, I'm going to really push them and try to take them to an advanced level. So this is a bulk where I'm not trying to even out my physique and trying to work on my weak points, or a bulk where I just kind of generally get strong on the bench. This is a bulk where I get as strong as I can everywhere. This is a bulk where I push my entire body to its breaking point and really try to put on as much as muscle as possible, within reason, basically everywhere. This is a bulk where I find out where is my maximum recoverable volume. How hard can I push in the gym? How much can I do? How strong can I get? Those are the kind of questions that I want to answer here. And as you can see, I did 5 sets of squats to failure with 120 kilos today. 5 sets of deficit deadlifts to failure with 120. And I did 3 sets of calf raises to failure, and I did 3 sets of hanging knee raises with ankle weights. Not really to failure, but till serious pain in my hands, and in my abs. So this was really one of the hardest leg days I've ever done, and that's because I never really do more than 1 set to failure on squats, for example, because it is so grueling. Failing a heavy set of squats and then kind of lifting that bar back up, plucking off all of the weights, lifting the bar back up, piling all the weight back on, and then going for another heavy set and another, and another, and another. And then you're on to the next exercise, the deadlift. This is the kind of stuff that is serious muscle building activities. Now, I'm not sure if this is, it could be too much, but I think that that's kind of a thing that you should notice. My previous strategy has been to just decide that, I probably can't recover from this, so I'm not going to do it. New strategy. Let's see what I can recover from. I'm going to be in a almost perfect position to gain muscle here. Huge caloric surplus, rebounding from a super light body weight with a super low body fat, while already in a very well-trained state and in a great sleeping pattern. Everything I'm doing. School's going to start here in like 2 weeks or some shit, but school isn't going to stop me from having great sleep. School isn't going to stop me from eating and getting fucking big. So I have no excuses now. Everything is going to flow, and as long as I'm not seriously injured somewhere, I should be making serious progress everywhere. Now, one thing I'm not going to do this bulk, which I've failed to do every other bulk, is I always focused on the weight on the bar. This time I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try and add more and more and more weight for the same reps, or add reps mindlessly. I'm going to do multiple sets to failure on everything. So for example, with my dips, I'm not gonna, I had an idea initially that I'm gonna build up to 5 sets of 20. And now I don't think I should do that. I think I should go for that first set. Maybe I get 30 reps on the first set eventually, and then I get 25, and then I get 23, and then I get 19, and then I get, 15. Like, let's just say that is where I end up on dips. I'm not going for straight sets, meaning I do the same number of reps each set, which basically means that your first set you are sandbagging a little bit, your second set you are sandbagging a little bit, and maybe your third and your fourth, to eventually fail on the fourth or the fifth set on that 10th rep, for example, if we're doing 5 sets of 10. What I want here is I want to fail on every set. I want every set to be super stimulative, and I'm going to hit these muscles really hard, especially my weak links. But when it comes to legs here, I really feel them right now. I mean, my calves and my glutes and my quads are hurting right now. Even my abs and, my hands as well, like my grip. I did 5 sets of deficit deadlifts. Now, these were with a lightweight and they were with a few reps, but, yesterday I had a pull day, so I really just increased the volume everywhere here. I'm going to be training 7 days a week, 6 days gym, 1 day cardio. So we'll see how this experiment goes and how long I last. But these first few weeks, I think, like at least these first 2, 3, 4 weeks, like this first month out of the bottom of the cut, as I rebound in body weight, I think training unnecessarily much and unnecessarily hard is probably not going to hurt my gains. I think it's going to turbocharge them. And the plan is to bench 140 and to have an equivalent level of strength everywhere else. I mean, if you bench 140, you're supposed to deadlift well over 200, unless your arms are super short. You're supposed to squat 180 plus if you deadlift 140. I mean, my whole body needs to work in unison. I need to be strong everywhere. And when you're strong everywhere, you're going to be big everywhere. And that's the plan. There's no stone I want to leave unturned. I want a bigger neck. I want bigger forearms. I even want bigger calves. I did 3 sets of calves to failure today. I never train calves. I've never done it consistently for more than around 1 month at a time. I've really never done a serious training block for calves. And this bulk is a perfect time to start, because I'm going to build some muscle here in the beginning, and I'm also going to get the passive effect of being fat, because being fat and running and being fat and training and being fat and walking, that's going to add some size to your calves. Because when you walk and when you walk up hills and when you run, when you sprint, when you jump, a lot of times you're doing these activities of 1 foot at a time, which means if you add 18 kilos to your body weight, you're going to add, a total of 36 kilos of calf strength in total for both calves. You're going to add 18 kilos of calf strength per calf. That's a bit of bro math. Obviously, you're not going to move the exact same way at an inflated, 23, 24% body fat as you are going to move, athletically speaking, at a chiseled 10%. But as I get heavier here, it's the perfect chance not to just say, well, the bulk and getting fat is going to take care of my calves. No, I'm going to train my calves extremely hard, and I'm going to get fat and heavy and big and juicy. And I'm going to hit my legs super hard. I'm going to hit my calves super hard. Because, I've always thought that, well, calves, it's genetic. But that's only true if you have really shit calf genetics. And who am I to say how good my calf genetics are? I can't really tell. So I think my calf genetics are probably at least average, to be honest. They might even be better than average. Like, my calves aren't that small. So, they're just like moderately small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push them really fucking hard here. For the rest of this year and into next year, I'm going to get really heavy. I'm going to push the calves extremely hard and see what they do. Instead of guessing what a potential is and never working towards it, let's work towards it. Worst case scenario, I notice that my calves don't react to training at all, and I don't have to train them again. I'll just say, fuck it, I'm not training calves again. Best case scenario, I make significant progress. I think the odds of the best case scenario are significantly higher than the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario, once again, is wasted effort. The best case scenario is a significant improvement in my physique, because I would love to have juicy and big calves. It's not as good as having big biceps, but it would feel really good to be able to walk in shorts knowing that I have serious calf muscle. So I'm going to use that as a motivator here. I'm going to actually push them for once. I'm going to try really hard. And I know for a fact that I tend to store quite a bit of fat on my calves. Now, I'm lean currently. I'm sitting down. I can see that, in certain lighting, I actually have a little bit of calf veins, which is something I've never had in my life, on the back of my calf, having veins that I've never had that, because I store so much fat there normally. I'm really lean right now, but my stomach's super distended from all the eating this past week. But I'm still quite lean. But I know that when I get heavier, when I get up to 85, 90, and 95 kilos eventually, I'm not only going to grow the calf muscle itself, but I naturally put on a layer of fat around the calf, which is going to make it look even bigger. So, that's just another place in my body where I plan to, add a little bit of that, 18 kilos, which I'm going to gain this bulk. I don't just want to put everything in the midsection, although a lot of it is inevitably going to go to my midsection. I want to, work on the back, work on the chest, work on the shoulders, work on the traps, work on the neck, work on my biceps more than I've ever done, work on my calves more than I've ever done. Like, everything I've neglected, if we're going kind of in order here. My neck, I know I can do better than I have before. My upper back, I know has more potential. My chest absolutely has a lot more potential. My biceps have a lot more potential. My forearms probably have significantly more potential. My hamstrings have a lot more potential, tons more potential. And my calves, they are really far from their genetic potential. I think all of these muscles, so these are like the main focuses of this bulk, the things I'm going to work on the most, because they are my weak points. But everything needs to get bigger, including my quads, including my shoulders, including my triceps. My triceps are pretty good, and including my lats, which are really good. So I'm not going to be sandbagging anything. Everything is going to be to failure. I'm really going to try to hold myself accountable there. I'm going to try not to just look like I'm going to failure. I'm going to try not to just go through the motions. I'm going to try not to just get to the 10 reps and modify my technique so it's easier. I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go hard, and I'd rather fail on the 8th rep doing a difficult technique that actually hits the target muscle than, to fail or not fail even on the 10th rep because I kind of compensated with my strong muscles. So I'm going to be training more like a bodybuilder, this bulk. And a bodybuilder isn't really concerned with how heavy he's lifting, although you need to lift heavy if you're going to get really big. You just, because you need to get strong if you want to get really big. But I'm going to be primarily focused on training, like torturing my muscles basically, not primarily focused on moving maximum weight. So for the squats, for example, I'm not going to do, super optimized technique. My technique is already really optimized for lifting super heavy, if we're going to be honest. Like, I do a really wide stance and everything. So if I end up doing my squats higher up than I'm doing right now, I'm going to have to drop the weight because I want to be doing deep squats. I want to be doing proper form deadlifts. Like, I don't want to be doing deadlifts with a rounded back, just eking out heavier and heavier loads. I'd rather stay with the same weight or even decrease weight and use good form and really push it with good form. That's my goal here. So every single exercise, I'm going to try to do solid form to failure, multiple sets to failure, and I'm going to try to just keep all this training up and see what my body can take. I know for a fact that I'm going to be in a really big caloric surplus in the beginning here. I'm rebounding out of a really deep cut. I'm super hungry still. I'm probably in a 500 to 1,000 calorie surplus on a daily basis. And as I'm there, I want to just be completely trashing my muscles so that I know that they're just going to have, whatever is my maximum amount of growth that I can produce in these next few weeks. That's the amount of growth that I want to stimulate. I want to stimulate so that my body can just be kind of at a constant state of maximum muscle growth for weeks. That's my plan. So that's all I have to say on today. Tomorrow is a push day, and I actually have pretty serious soreness from my last push day two days ago. My chest is really sore, my triceps are really sore, and my delts are sore as well. So hopefully I feel pretty close to 100% in those muscles tomorrow. And even if I don't, I'm going to go really hard. I'm basically just going to stick to this insane program. Just switch some exercises around. Like the next leg day, I'm not going to do squats. I'm going to do split squats instead. But I'm going to just keep the volume and the intensity and the frequency super high until I run into a problem. I'm not going to preemptively decrease anything here. I'm going to decrease it when it gets way too fucking hard or when I injure myself. I'm going to go really hard here. This is my attempt at gaining muscle as fast as possible. So, that's what this bulk is all about. Just get super big and super jacked in the shortest possible amount of time. Zero focus on taekwondo. I'm still going to do cardio for my health and for my general performance. I'm absolutely not giving up the cardio training. But other than that, pretty much all of my body's physical adaptation potential is just going to be put into gaining as much muscle as possible, as quickly as possible, putting on as much bone mass as possible, as quickly as possible, and just transforming. I want to mutate super fast and become a completely different human. That's the goal. This is not a bulk where I add a little bit to my arms and, I add a level of refinement to my physique. No, this is that kind of Lee Priest, Dorian Yates type bulk where you just add another layer of human on top of the layer that already was there. This isn't adding a little bit of roundness to the delts. This isn't adding a few more kilos to the bench to fill out the chest. This isn't working on the outer thigh. This is fucking destroying your body, eating like an absolute bear and sleeping, hibernating on a nightly basis, no alcohol, training super hard so that I come out of this in a year, literally completely different person, way bigger. That's the plan. I'm shooting for 4+ kilos of muscle growth. And if we look at where my physique is right now, I am probably at an intermediate level for a natural right now with my genetics. I want to push to advanced. Maybe I have more than 4 kilos of muscle gain potential this bulk if I actually try. So I'm not going to put a number on it. I'm not going to do anything I'm not going to decide how good this bulk is going to go. I'm going to push as hard as I can until I can't really get heavier because I hit a ceiling where I don't really want to eat more or until I get too fat. So I'm going to push this bulk until I either hate myself or hate my life. That's the plan. It sounds really brutal, but I saw a YouTube comment which was really insightful, I think. And I told it to my mum, she didn't understand it, but you guys are going to get this. It said, bulk until you hate yourself. cut until you hate life. I definitely cut until I hated life this time around. At least I hated the way I felt. So I checked that box, and here I'm going to bulk until I either get like too fat, you know, basically where I start losing my abs in good lighting. That's the plan. Either that or the point to where I can't eat more food. And I believe that this point will be somewhere around 95 kilos, since my two last bulks, my second last bulk, I maxed out at 85 kilos, couldn't eat more. That was in 2023. And my bulk now into basically the first week of January here, 2025, I got up to 89 kilos and I couldn't get past that. So I'm going to try to push 6 more kilos, just about this bulk from my previous heaviest ever. And that means gaining about 15 kilos from what I weigh here in this video. So, you know, I'm going to get comments like, is this healthy? Is this good for you? And it's not going to be. This is absolutely like pushing above and beyond, going further than I've ever been willing to go before, and reaping rewards and probably getting half or even more than half of all the muscle potential I have for the rest of my life, like within a year's time frame. I want to get all the gains I can get right now. So yeah, I'm going to rush the process and I'm going to elongate the process at the same time, which means that this is going to be some serious months I have ahead of me. And with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.